Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Performance E Streaming. It's Sunday night, and that means only one thing. It is time for my Private Cellar's Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it is here at the classic Texas. Yes, we are at the unmuted version of Texas Motor Speedway tonight for round race 6 of the season. I'm Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you. Joining me up here in the booth, I have Mr. Matty Hunter. Matt, how are you going, mate?
Yeah, going good, Carl. Yep. We're at the good version of Texas, as some would say.
Absolutely, the unruined version, the very fast version, the fun version. So looking forward to this race tonight for sure.
Yeah, indeed. In case people, our listeners or viewers don't know, a few years ago they changed the profile of Turn 1 and 2, and it changed the racing quite a lot on that corner. And yeah, a lot of people don't like the change that they made.
No, absolutely. It's taking the speed down a little bit and taking some of the fun of Texas away. We are, however, getting ready for the race to start in a few moments. Just quickly looking at the weather. It is 25 degrees air temperature, 40 degrees track temperature tonight. A little bit of wind to the southwesterly direction. So track temperatures, that's going to be a killer tonight. The tyres are going to get very hot. Of course, remember, they only get one set of tyres to change onto during the race. So that could be a crucial one for tonight. Let us run through the starting order for tonight's race. Taking pole position, Troy Davidson for the Sim Boys up on the front row with Barry Neal starting to his outside. Row number 2 has Darren McKenzie, returning Darren McKenzie next to Adam Malone. Good night for the Southern Stars team. Row number 3, we see Craig Rothie next to Raymond Yeager. Kay Donnelly next up on row 4 with Jai Schultz to his outside. Gary Wellman starts on the 5th row tonight with Aaron Dillon to his outside. Justin Whitcher and Andy Barber make up row number 6. Kim Rothie and Dwayne Priest are on row number 7 tonight with Christopher Finley and Todd Maxfield on row number 8. Luke Crum and Michael Latter make up our 9th row, and Sean Newens and Shay Mello on row number 10. It's Nicholas Walsh and Nigel Patton making up the 11th row. Christopher Tomlin, Peter Matson on row number 12. Matt Patton, Kobe Jordan, Kai Turner, Mark Turner and Andrew Hoffman rounding out our field, not setting times for qualifying tonight. But it's going to be one heck of a race. Just quickly before we get into all the usual bits, championship-wise, Gary Wellman is unsurprisingly in the lead of the championship with those wins under his belt. 201 points up the top. 60 points back is Raymond Yeager. 68 points back in third is Justin Whitcher. Craig Rothie sits in fourth, 69 points down, and fifth is Cade Donnelly, 79 points off the title. Teams Championship, Pinnacle Esports are leading at the moment. They are joint first place with the Sim Boys. The Sim Boys have had some really good results, but not for the Teams Championship. Their drivers need to get the right ones in that top 10. Rogue Sim Sports are sitting in third position with 164 points, so just a little bit off with SRM Australia and Inside Lane Productions are top five teams at the moment. Southern Stars starting to knock on the door there, though. They could have a really good run tonight and possibly jump themselves up a couple of positions. That could be crucial for the old team championships. Just joined in the booth by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Sorry about being late. Just a few little home issues needed to take care of. And yeah, all good now, though. Looking forward here for a good run at Texas.
Oh, absolutely. With yourself being late, that means you get to call it all yourself tonight.
Yeah, I don't think the viewers want me doing it by myself.
We are just getting ready to take the start here. It's going to be Troy Davidson for the Sim Boys leading off. And a pace car is about to pull in here at Texas. The green flag will drop. I'm going to shut up. Let's enjoy the sound of these V8s thundering around Texas at full pelt. Away we go. make it through the first rotation here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's Troy Davidson building up a decent lead. He had a huge jump up at the front ahead of Craig Rothie, Kay Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Darren McKenzie, Adam Malone, Raymond Yeager, Aaron Dillon, Dwayne Priest, and Joyce Schultz. That's our top 10 at the moment. Great start there for Troy, but he did have a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 4, just getting a little bit loose on the rear, and these rear tyres are going to get so hot here tonight at Texas, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. The old Texas was renowned for wear tyre wear, so it's going to be interesting to see what these boys do in these supercars. They're going to have to watch the tyres. Only one more set for them for the race, so it will be very interesting to see who looks after those tyres the best.
It's going to be really important just not to get too much lateral motion in there, not to burn them up, not to get too much heat in there, and then the wear, of course, as well. When the tyres get hot, they become less and less useful. They lose their stickiness a little bit, and then they scrub, and then they get worn, and then all things go wrong as it runs through. Just looking back here, Barry Neal's dropped right down the pack. He's just fallen behind Michael Lasser at the moment. I wonder if Barry Neal just deciding to take it easy in these first few laps, or if there was a little bit of contact that sent him down the field. He's just sort of shuffling his way down quite quickly. So I think he just got held up a little bit high on the start, and then he's just found himself just dropping down the order a fair bit. So not the ideal start there for the Kiwi, but we know things about Barry Neal. He's very good at keeping tyres alive. Raymond Yeager now making a move on the two Southern Stars car of Adam Malone and Darren McKenzie trying to get down the inside, with Dwayne Priest coming along nicely too, with Aaron Dillon, and deciding, yeah, what you can do, we can do better, and they're trying to battle it out there at the moment.
Yeah, I was just having a little bit of a better look at Barry's car. I can't see any physical damage on that car, Carl.
No, I just wonder if he's just dropping back a bit just to try and keep the car alive a little bit longer in the race. Up the front, though, we've got a battle for the lead as Craig Rothie high up on the outside in the Rogue Sim Sports car, having a good run there in the Mustang, getting up above Troy Davidson. He has got Kay Donnelly all over the back with him, though, and Gary Wellman too. Not a surprise to see the Green Sim Boys entry working his way towards the front. But at the moment, it is Craig Rothie in the lead. A little bit doing a very good run at the moment, and he has got some good pace. These leaders are running away at the moment.
Yeah, they definitely are pulling out a nice little gap over the rest of the field. I think some of the guys have probably done some testing here over the last week and decided that maybe, just maybe, we need to look after these tyres, as you said, Carl. And as I said at the opening, the tyre wear is reasonably bad here, anyway, so we'll have to see how it goes.
It is a very high-speed track, the old configuration of Texas, and well, high speeds on a circuit that's not exactly huge, it can absolutely start to really affect those tyres, and the heat tonight as well is not going to help things out. So we've heard before with Barry Neal, he tends to run to a certain time to get his race working. So I wonder if he's just running to a time to a certain lap times at the moment, just to make sure he can make it to the end and keep those tyres alive nicely, while everybody else up the front here at least is going, oh, I'm paid to race, I'm going to race hard and just go for it.
Yeah, I think Barry's got a strategy plan in place. He's definitely running to a number. Like some laps he's almost 2 seconds a lap the leader's pace. So I think he might be concerned about the tyre wear and the life as well. Very hot track as well, so that is, yeah, normally we don't have to worry about tyre wear with these cars, but this track is certainly one that they do have to worry about tyre wear, and then topped it off with the heat. I think it's going to be a real challenging night for tyres.
Yeah, I remember in the old NASCAR, the Gen 6 NASCAR, I know it's a different car and all, but it was very bad here around Texas with tyre wear. So I really can't see much difference with these cars having a bigger downforce over them. If anything, it should be a little bit worse, I'd say.
It's all going to be that right front tyre, right? How much load you put on that right front tyre when you go into the corners and how hard you go in.
Well, one good thing about downforce though is it can stop the sort of lateral movements a little bit, and sometimes that can help just stop the scrubbing on the tyres, so you get a little bit less wear in that respect. So that might be the one saving grace for this run, is just not having that sort of lateral movement. But if you're really pushing hard and absolutely going for it lap after lap after lap and really attacking, you're going to be putting more stress through your tyres. And you can see here Justin Whitcher and the Whitcher Electrix Pinnacle car getting up right underneath the rear spoiler of Shane Mello, that is. Andrew Hoffman down on the inside as well. Some good battles going on throughout the track at the moment. Some nice fighting between these cars, and some very pretty cars out there as well. Just behind that, we've got Matt Patton closing in, as well as the United Electrical Solutions branded version of the Pinnacle cars, of course. Big thank you to the title sponsors of the series for helping us continue to bring broadcasting, the racing and all the action here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. And well, they're having a good race down here, but they're not running to the ultimate pace. I think they're just running to set lap times just to try and keep a little bit more life in there, while the leaders are absolutely going for it at the moment. They've dropped off by about 0.8 of a second from their ultimate pace, so there's already a little bit of tyre wear starting to come in.
Barry's dropped back to 23rd now. He's really running to a number.
Yeah, this really come to play later in the race. We're going to have to see how this one unfolds. So it's going to be, I think we're going to see an interesting run here tonight of people who are really saving the car for the latter stages of the race, and people who are just absolutely going for it. Of course, you could find yourself out of luck by just running to the pace, because those guys up the front are absolutely gunning for it. They will eventually get round and start lapping those cars that are going at a certain pace, so you've got to be cautious of going a little bit too slow. 30-ish second lap here, and already the guys from about 18th onwards are half a lap down. They're about 14-15 seconds off the leaders, so it won't be long until we start seeing some lap traffic coming into play. Christopher Tomlin is the first car at the moment that is looking like he might see the leaders coming up on his rear, and he's only got the back straight between himself and those leaders at the moment in the inside lane productions 212.
Yeah, Christopher had a good run last night in the Cup cars, but he doesn't seem to be having the same luck tonight.
I wonder if he's just running to a slightly calmer pace at the moment. We've got a big gaggle of cars behind Raymond Yeager at the moment. Absolute knife fighting going on. As a bit of contact into the wall goes Todd Maxfield. I think that was just giving the wall a nice big rub there. Looks like he's gotten away with it and kept the car pointing in the right direction, but you don't want to take too many scrapes like that here at Texas.
Definitely, it's definitely a hard, not a forgiving track if you get up into that outside wall.
Absolutely, real high speeds here as well. Getting the point where he made contact. He's been doing about 280, 290 kilometers per hour at that stage. It is a very fast track, and luckily we don't have to deal with the old G-forces and all of those bits that you have to deal with inside the cars of reality, because these drivers would be absolutely shattered after running this place in these cars, because there is a huge amount of lateral G going on with the cars through these corners, because they are really going at full pelt, about 270, 280 kilometers per hour through these corners, and that just absolutely adds to the wear, to the tyre heat, all of those little things that affect a car in the race. So doing a good job at the moment. We're 20 laps in, 114 laps remaining here tonight for the My Private Cellar's Australasian Supercar eSeries here at Legacy, Texas. It's round 6 of 11 of Season 6.
Yeah, I'm just watching further back in the field, down around 20th position, Justin Whitcher and co. And they have been, well, they've just gone back to 2 wide, but for the last lap and a half, they were 3 wide through this race. These boys aren't mucking around down here.
No, they are racing each other hard at the moment, which is great to see. But you just got to wonder, just that extra little bit of pressure you're putting on yourself, running side by side, really racing hard, that could really come to bite you once we get to the stages where the tyres start to drop off. But I think people are starting to feel like the wear might not be as severe as they were expecting, because speeds are starting to come up a little bit now. I'm just watching Barry Neal, he's starting to close up on this group now as well. Raymond Jaeger, he's dropped a fair few positions too, so there's been a lot of changes in this race, a lot of different positions going through tonight's field, and it's been an interesting one at the start, because usually you see everyone compressing into a tight pack, but tonight it's quite spread out. As up the front, Darren McKenzie battling it out for the lead in the 0-2. He has got his nose ahead in that dark blue Southern Stars eSports car, and a good run up there at the moment, getting a lap led most importantly as well, battling it out with Craig Rothie.
Yeah, that high line seems to be starting to come in and really starting to work for the guys. Just wondering how many more guys we'll see try and get up there and get the run. So we can see now Rothie just come up that little bit, but back down onto the pole line. So it's going to be interesting to see how many guys decide, hey, that line of Mackenzie is the way to go.
Well, the other thing is, running slightly higher lines tend to be a little bit softer on the old tyres. It means you do a little bit more distance through the track, but it doesn't put as much stress on the tyre as running a real low line. So that could be a crucial part for later in the stint as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one as it unfolds. Currently leading is Darren McKenzie, Craig Rothie, Gary Bowman, Troy Davison, and Cade Donnelly. That's our top 5 at the moment. Up the front, about 0.6 of a second covering the top 5. Adam Malone sitting in 6th position. He's just off this group a little bit with Dwayne Priest. And then there's a massive gap back to Kai Turner in the K-Tech Motorsport car. He is a good, where am I? Where's my thingy? About 13 seconds behind the leaders at the moment. So a huge gap between the leading pack and then this large pack behind.
Yeah, that second pack from Donnelly, from Turner down, is a fairly big pack. But there's 4 cars now starting to break away from Justin Whitcher, and basically starting to form up the third group. So we've got the front runners, then a group of 4, then it's basically the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's it. The sort of that little sort of main pack from Shane Newens down from 13th down to about 26th with Kim Rothie, then Peter Matson, Nigel Patton, and Christopher Tomlin have sort of fallen off the back a little bit. Just going back to have a little bit of looks here, they're just sort of just plugging along at the moment. Nobody's really too worried, although Christopher Tomlin will be glancing in his rearview mirror and seeing the lead pack coming up very, very quickly on himself. So we are starting to get into traffic here. Lap 29 of 134 here at Legacy, Texas. Performance e-streaming the Australasian Supercar eSeries.
Yeah, they're almost right on the back now of Tomlin. Tomlin moves high and gives that lead group a run down around the pole. So well done by Tomlin. Move out of the road for these guys.
So we're expecting about 45 laps, I think, on the tanks of fuel. So we might see some early stops coming in the near future. We'll see how that one pans out. But we might start seeing some cars popping in pit lane in the next five or so laps, I reckon. So we'll keep an eye on the pit lane complex. I wonder if anybody's going to try and get in for a quick early splash of fuel, see if they can cool the tyres down and see if they can get a bit of a better run on the next sort of stint, of course, and hopefully not see a caution come out.
It looks like everyone's behaving themselves tonight and want to get through. They want to get through this race clean. But in saying that too, if we see the early stages clean, we normally see a few cautions second half of the race when guys really start to push for their positions.
Yeah, that's it. We could see some dramas in the latter stages. One other thing to watch out for as well is with that tyre wear is coming into pit lane. If you're sort of running it right down to the canvas, there's a good chance that the tyre can go pop when you're entering pit lane, and that can really throw you off as you're entering, especially for green flag stops. So something for these drivers just to be a bit cautious of, just making sure that the tyre wear doesn't get to a certain level, because that could really be a night ruiner.
Yeah, I can't remember the pit lane entry. What the position was of it. So I really can't comment on that. But I do know this. It was used to be a lot slipperier in pit lane here.
Yeah, the grip levels fall right off down there on the apron and down in pit lane. So expect to see a few people just having a little bit of a slide down there, and you've got to be so cautious when you're coming into the lane here as well, because it is a very fast entry. Usually you're just dipping it down off of turn 4 and just trying to get in there, of course. But that could really catch a few drivers out tonight in green flag stops. We've got some very close racing happening down with Shane Newlands, Barry Neal, and Jai Schultz as well. Jai Schultz on 27 on the high side at the moment, side by side with Barry Neal. And these guys, they might be sort of just doing a little bit to protect the car and try for a longer stint, but they're definitely not. They're not taking it easy. They are racing very hard out there.
Definitely. Back up the front too, we're about to see these guys come up on some more lap cars. So it's definitely starting to get spread out a little bit, and the guys are starting to catch lap cars. So while that excitement is happening down there, the front's about to get exciting too, with 2 lap cars coming up on them, Carl.
Yeah, that'll be Peter Madsen and Nigel Patton there. Just about to go a lap down, so plenty of action starting. It's starting to heat up here at Texas. I mean, it's hot enough already. We don't want it getting any hotter. But if you're in the need to get some warmth, Hot Toddys heating installations are, of course, a fantastic option in this very cold winter at the moment. We have got a car in pit lane. Peter Madsen, he decided to pull it in. He was going to go a lap down. So instead of fighting it out there, he's come into pit lane, and he is the first car to come in for a pit stop tonight. So we'll be seeing some more popping into pit lane in the very near future, I imagine, as we see the battle going on here with Jaeger and Jai Schultz with, let's see who that is on the high side. Get racy there coming through the track. Lots and lots of action going on at the moment, and as I said, there's some people are really starting to get it between their teeth. Shane Newlands up on the high side in the blue car in the 10. People are starting to get really racy at the moment, but I think we're going to see those pit stops happening in the very near future, and I wonder sort of who is going to be able to sort of link up with teammates and make these stops work, Mark.
Yeah, well, we see the Sim boys up front again. I'm just wondering who's been nominated as the teammates for these guys. And we see Adam Malone still up there close to the front. So he'll probably be trying to work his way to the front to get on the tail of his teammate Darren McKenzie.
I think it's good news for the Sim boys, as Wellman, Davidson and Donnelly are the 3 nominated drivers. So for once, they've got all the correct cars up there at the moment for the team's championship. That's been the Achilles heel of Sim boys recently, is having the wrong cars in the right places. So always a tricky thing to predict, though, that kind of thing. Lap 40 of 134, 94 laps remaining here tonight, and Well, we've seen some really close racing. The front started just to close up a little bit as well. Right up the front, they've sort of gone a little bit closer to each other. They're not quite going at the same pace as they were before, but they have got a huge gap over Kai Turner, still about 13.5 seconds for the lead pack to the next group of cars.
Yeah, that's a big gap. That is a huge gap around here. 13.5 seconds. So that second group needs to settle down and start working together to catch these guys. Or they've just got to hope for a caution.
Yeah, that is it. Of course, with that hard work building up the gap can soon evaporate if that caution flag flies. About half a lap though between them at the moment, so there is just a big gap between the drivers. So we're still circulating at the moment, so trying to get it as long as possible on the fuel tank. We'll see when people start pulling it into pit lane. I can't imagine we're too far off from those first stops. The cars are looking a little bit less fun to drive though. I'm watching a fair few cars. The rears are getting a little bit tight on them. They're starting to have to lift off a few times just to get it through the corner. The car's getting very wobbly on the exit. So this is the start part of the race, Mark, where we could see a caution flag coming out from just a little tiny mistake, because these cars get very hard to drive.
Yeah, and also we've seen some of these guys in past races start to jump in and just touch each other. This point of the race where the tyres, as you said, Carl, getting hot and getting a little bit loose in the rear end, it's not going to take much for a little tap to see the car go around. Back up the front, I'm just watching Darren, and he is getting higher and higher on the track. So we can definitely see that car isn't as good in the turns as it was 10-15 laps ago.
No, they are really starting to fall off that cliff. Lap times are they're sort of about a second off their fast laps now. So it is starting to get to that point where it's just starting to get that little bit of struggle in. The tyre wear's starting to kick in, the heat's starting to kick in, and the cars are just getting a little bit more unpredictable. But the leaders are starting to slow down a fair bit. The gap now from Kai Turner to Dwayne to the leaders is 12.5 seconds. So this lead pack are slowing a little bit here. So the tortoise and the hare strategy going on at the moment between the two fields of cars. The ones that were just a little bit slower at the start are now catching up to the leaders. So that is interesting to see. So obviously just putting a little bit less pressure on those tyres in the early stage of the stint, letting them heat up a little bit sort of a little bit more gradual, is paying off for those guys that were sitting a little bit further back, and they are closing in on the leaders.
Yeah, definitely. Just keeping an eye on Gary Willman, the car in third place. He's really starting to struggle coming out off those turns. That last lap out of turn 4, he got a little bit taily, then again out of turn 2. So you're right, Carl, these tyres are really starting to go off.
We had a big moment a little bit further down the field for Shea Mello, I think it was, getting up into the wall, and a lot of cars had to do the old avoiding action just to get around that car. So a big moment coming off the corner.
Mackenzie is in.
Okay, so that tells us that we're starting to get the laps in. I'll just continue that little thing. Kobe Jordan got very lucky, though. He just avoided a big accident in the 080. So it's getting to that stage now where cars are getting very wobbly. Mark Turner, Kai Turner coming in for the K-Tech Motorsport team. So we are seeing some green flag pit stops. So about 10 more laps than we expected. But lets us know some crucial information. They can make it to about lap 50, 55 probably. So we'll see those pit stops starting to really heat up now. Expect to see a lot more cars coming in the lane in the near future.
I am surprised that Malone didn't follow his teammate down the pit lane.
Maybe there was just a too much of a gap there between them. They just did not want to put all their eggs in one basket. We see Craig Roffey pulling it into pit lane now, getting that car slowed down to 80 kilometers per hour. It feels like you're crawling along at a snail's pace when you get down to that speed after running around at, you know, almost 300 kph. Now is the crucial part of hitting your marks, getting into the right point, getting your pit box perfect, getting stopped, not overshooting it. Up on the air jacks it goes. Going to get some fuel in there. Probably it's going to be just fuel only at the moment. They're probably not going to worry about tyres, as with 50 laps in, 83 remaining. So the drivers will probably want to keep a set of tyres up their sleeve just for the latter stages, because there's a long old way to go in this race.
Yeah, definitely. Just watched Mackenzie come out, and he's been able to come out in front of Gary Willman, although that lead pack is going to swamp him very soon. But that definitely puts him in good stead, because he's been able to get back out and get in front of that lead. So as we see Willman.
Lead pack coming into pit lane now, as that train of cars all come in nose to tail. They make it in without contact. That's good news. Troy Davidson, our pole sitter, he has stayed it out for one extra lap, so he's going a little bit longer in this stint, as he just puts the move on Darren McKenzie. So McKenzie's technically down a lap for the moment, but I imagine Troy will be coming back into the lane very, very quickly. So we're seeing those first pit stops happening, and just listening on the old radio as well. Lots of people calling out their pit stops here, because Texas is one of those tracks where you really want to just give a shout over the old radio just to let people know you're pulling in, because it's so easy to go into the back of them because you have to brake sort of mid-corner.
So that technically, once all these first cycle of pit stops are done, that'll give Mackenzie the lead back in the race, if he can stay in front of those Davidson and White.
Two cars still out on track, Raymond Yeager and Nicholas Walsh. They are just taking it one extra lap, and Yeager's just pulling it into pit lane now. The RKJ Web Services Pinnacle eSports car, of course, if you're in the need for web solutions and website setting up, all of those little bits and bobs, make contact with RKJ Web Solutions, one of our title sponsors, and a fantastic job they do as well, and nice bloke as well, Mr. Raymond Yeager.
I'll be interested to see if anyone's going to do the 50, the 34, and then the 50. So what I mean by that is they've done their 50 laps, they've come in, got fuel, do another 34 laps on fuel, and then come in and get that set of tyres and a full tank of fuel and go for 50 laps to the end.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Matt. Like, if it runs green, that could be a really good little strategy call. There are a couple of people that are quite short in their stop times. Looking at Justin Whitcher, he was stationary for about 29 seconds, so that tells me he's put less fuel in there, so he's not going to run too long in this race, and he's going to come back in the lane for some fuel. Same for Peter Matson and Nigel Patton as well. So a few different strategies coming into play here, and it could be a really good strategy call, doing what you said.
Well, yeah, the alternate is that you go another 50 laps, and then you've been on that same set of tyres for 100 laps. So, you know, you might as well, if you do the 34, you'll get 16 extra laps of fresh tyres to use near the end. So I would look at the people who did the 50, that they might be looking at that option.
Yeah, could be a really good call, I reckon. So we'll see how that one pans out. But up the front, Craig Roffey is back in the lead. He's ahead of Kate Ronley and Troy Davidson. So it's Darren McKenzie lost a fair few spots with pit lane. He wasn't too slow through the lane, but obviously just a little bit slower entering and exiting it. And that little bit of clean running he did without any cars around him for the draft just cost him a fair bit of time. It's dropped to about 8 seconds off the lead.
I see that Michael Ladder, unfortunately, he's gone a lap down. He's had a long pit stop as well. He might have picked up a speeding penalty. Yeah. I think the stationary time is about 10 seconds longer than anybody else.
Yeah, he was stationary for 44 seconds. I wonder if he's just done a full tank rather than some other drivers. Maybe even swapping tyres. Just trying something very different for Michael Latta there. Because he's got some good pace in the car. You can see he's sort of trying to keep the car running at some good speed. Looks like he's got some good corner pace at the moment. So I wonder if he is trying something a little bit different there.
Could be. But unfortunately, at the moment, he's the first car one lap down and amongst all the leaders there.
It would be nice if iRacing gave us a little option so we could see when cars had changed tyres. It would be such a useful little feature, I swear.
Yeah, it would be handy. Especially when you've got a limited tyre set race like this one.
Yeah, and also just as it'd be nice on the timing screen as well, such a very good glance at and actually see what people are doing, rather than having to remember it, because our memories are not the best. Michael Latta just getting caught up high on the quad oval section, and he lost a whole heap of time there, and he's right behind the leaders. Speaking of going a lap down, Nigel Patton at the moment in the 90 Pinnacle Esports car, the My Private Cellar's version, he is just getting caught by them, and he's about to fall down a lap as well. Trying valiantly to fight back and keep himself on the lead lap, but can't quite get the pace in that car at the moment, and he is dropping himself a lap down too. And a lot of those drivers that sort of were taking it easy at the start have really been caught off with that. They just fallen down a fair bit of time, and the leader's pace, I think, has caught a few people off by surprise.
It has, yeah. You would have to manage that. If you were sort of holding off at the start, you would have to make sure you manage the gap. Like I think we saw Barry Neal sort of hang back and manage the gap pretty well, and then once he got sort of about half a lap down, he sort of just did enough to just stay there and not fall back even further to possibly risk getting lapped. But now he's running back up in 7th.
About 11 seconds off the lead with Justin Whitcher there, the Whitcher Electrix version of the Pinnacle car. Those two running well together, and they're just trying to catch up now. So they've obviously trying something a little bit different. Both of those cars were relatively short stops as well. 31 seconds for Barry Neal, Justin Whitcher 29 seconds. So they got a little bit less fuel on board as well. So a little bit lighter car can always help a little bit with the pace of things as well. As we see them running nose to tail at the moment, and they're not fighting, which is crucial. So they're trying to catch up to the lead pack.
Yeah, I'm wondering if these ones they're going to try that 84 sort of thing, or even earlier. Once you know you can make it home, coming in and grabbing those new tyres.
Yeah, getting that stop done is going to be a crucial thing, and of course, if it runs green, could be a really, really useful run. Just looking back through the field a few laps ago, this was actually lap 52. Mark Turner had a big moment coming out of turn 4. Back end stepped out on him, and he had a big slide up into the wall and gave that car a fairly hefty whack. And it was Andrew Hoffman who was just in front of him, had a very, very lucky escape. So we've seen a couple of little moments, but nothing's brought out the caution just as of yet.
No, they're all doing pretty well, holding on to the cars. They're all being patient, and they all know that's the same for everybody, and they're just looking after their stuff and managing it.
Yeah, some good racing going on as well. People are racing clean and racing well. Just saw Darren McKenzie there. He's just dropping down a bit as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe Darren took a bit too much out of his tyres in that first bit of the stint.
Maybe. He's really struggling. He might have even popped a right front.
He's coming into pit lane.
He might have popped a right front tyre.
Yeah, the car's looking down on... I was just looking at it, and it sounds like something is flapping around on there, because I thought he was clutching it for a moment. wonder if this is our first puncture of the night. And that's going to be crucial.
Have a bit of a listen then. Jump on board with him.
Yeah, coming into turn 1 on lap 66. Definitely sounds like a puncture, because I'm just watching the replay. So he's coming across the quad oval, he turns it into turn 1, and all of a sudden he has to just lift off, and then all of a sudden you get that rattle, rattle, rattle sound on the tyre going down. So I reckon Darren McKenzie has had the first flat of the night.
Yeah, so just explaining to our viewers what happens there is you have tyre wear on your tyres, and when they get down to 0%, they pop, basically. And yeah, you lose the tyre, and you get what we call a meatball, so you have to come in a pit. But also the car obviously doesn't drive very well with a flat tyre.
I wonder if a similar thing's happened to the 013 of Aaron Dillon too. He's had a moment in pretty much just on the exit of turn 1, and he's got some heavy damage on the front. And of course, that's this could be really, really crucial now. If well, it's good. It's going to be critical for those guys up the front. They're going to want to get rid of these tyres as soon as possible if they know people are starting to have tyre failures.
Yeah, and they're going to have to really manage them because, you know, like Darren and Aaron have got to run to the end of the race now on one set of tyres. They haven't got another chance. You know, they should be able to make it, but because it's pretty much halfway distance. But yeah, they're going to have to make sure they don't pop another set.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really tricky one, and they just have to really, really go a little bit softer on the car and not push as hard as they were previously, because it's crucial just to get those tyres alive. And this could be where those guys that just eased off at the beginning of the race, they are going to come into play in the latter stages. So we'll keep an eye on the front runners and see if anybody has to dart it down into pit lane for an emergency stop. But that will definitely have people just a little bit nervous, I think.
It would be, yeah. I would say probably it wouldn't have been communicated to anybody else other than the Southern East Stars guys, the teammates. So I'd be watching what they sort of do, because they'll be the ones that are in the know. If Aaron Dillon did have a puncture as well, he probably would have communicated it to the other Sim boys as well. But yeah, I think it won't necessarily be easy for everybody else to know unless you're in their team.
No, that's it. And just watching, and there's definitely been a drop-off in pace for those leading cars. They've dropped down a little bit on the pace. A few of them just taking it a little easier now, and the gap is closing. Barry Neal and Justin Whitcher are closing in. They're 8 seconds off now, so they are starting to close up to these front runners. But you know, high-speed blowouts on tyres, they can easily bring out a caution flag if somebody has a bit of a moment.
Yeah, I think I mean, we're seeing about half a second lap difference now between Barry and Sexton, the leaders. So the leaders have really dropped that pace off.
I think Kai Turner is next in line to get a puncture. The K-Tech Motorsport car, the 872. His front just sounded like it was not working quite well. Peter Matson's come into pit lane as well. So I think we're starting to see those tyres letting go. Dwayne Priest as well.
Yeah, I think Matson pitted earlier. Once he was about to get lapped, he pitted in. So he was one of the really, really early pit stoppers. But it might be a good move because he'd check on a set of tyres and away you go.
Just looking at the right side of Dwayne Priest's car, that has got some heavy damage. So you may be right there, Carl. He may have got a blown tyre and ended up in the wall.
Let's have a look and see if I can see on the replay what happened. No, he's already at the pits there. Just trying to find when he might have hit the wall, but
It seems like turn 1 is the thing where it's letting go. It seems to be letting through on the apex of turn 1. That's where where I've heard most of the blowouts happening. So that kind of makes sense because that corner is very, very sharp indeed. And we're getting to that point where you can make it to the end in about 6 laps time. So I think people will be desperate to get in as soon as possible, get those tyres on.
oh yeah. So just having a replay of on board with Dwayne Priest, you can just see that he just had no grip in the corner trying to get out through the corner. He was he had to back it right off to be able to get it to turn, so he definitely had some issue with that right front tyre.
So Troy Davison's taken the lead of the race in United Electrical Solutions Synboy's car. Hot Toddys down the side, of course. Big thank you to the series sponsors, United Electrical Solutions, Hot Toddys, Whitcher Electrix, RKJ Web Services, and of course my Private Cellars. So he's having a good run up there now with Cade Donnelly. Gary Wellman's boarded into pit lane. That's must be a little bit early, and I wonder if that's another car that suffered a puncture, because it
either that or he's right on the bubble, because I think 54 laps.
No, he lost a lot of time when he was coming in, and just jumping on board sounds like that tyre just let itself go. So
Kobe Jordan just had a big moment there on the back, coming across the triangle. It looks like though he has saved it.
I reckon his tyre's just gone as well. Just listening to that car, and it sounds like something's flapping on it. Barry Neal just squeaks through as Kobe Jordan's bringing it into the lane. Let's see this replay here of the 080 Inside Lane Productions car, and it looks like he's slowing down very quickly, and a little bit of contact between himself.
And Michael Ladder.
So yeah, Kobe Jordan's boarded his pit lane, tried to stop it as well, and that thing does not want to slow down. So there's a lot of people having tyre failures. Craig Rothie bringing into pit lane.
I think everybody will be coming in pit lane now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty much, we think we're on that critical lap, 83. You know, I think if you're smart, if you're paying attention, if you know what's going on, you've got to come in and grab those tyres now, and then you know you're going to make it home on fuel and tyres.
Yeah.
You're definitely a brave man.
We just had confirmation in the chat from Sarah that Kobe's right front tyre was 0, so yeah, he definitely had a tyre go as well. So we are pretty confident we're seeing these tyres let go.
Yeah, tyres are going poppity pop all around us, and that's costing a lot of people time. Cade Donnelly still keeping it out there with Troy Davison, Barry Neal, Justin Whitcher. I wonder, Justin Whitcher and Barry Neal, they took it nice and easy in that early stage, and I wonder if they're going to take it a little bit longer here, just not having to worry too much about the right front and running to their times. So they're going to take it a little bit longer and then pull it in. So it's really just playing Russian roulette at the moment, isn't it? You just
you have no
do
idea.
Not know.
You have no idea where your tyres are at. You don't know whether you might be thinking that you've done a good job and you haven't. Yep.
It's a horrible feeling as well when a tyre goes bang on one of these cars, and you know it really hurts you coming into pit lane as well, because the brakes don't work as well. Justin Whitcher pulling it into pit lane now, but of course you can't stop the car easily. You really struggle. You can barely turn the thing as well, so it really costs you a huge amount of time when one of those tyres goes pop. So those drivers that have kept it alive and managed to go a little bit longer, they're going to be sitting very pretty for this one.
Yeah, I can't remember. The spotter now tells you, doesn't he, that the tyre's got an issue, or that it's worn out, doesn't he?
I think they give you a warning at certain percentages, but it doesn't tell you until it goes pop, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the last time I remember doing it, having the issue, there wasn't any warning. There wasn't even a spotter warning. And the first thing you're trying to work out, you're so surprised by it, you're just trying to work out what the hell's going on. You don't, it takes you actually a few moments to sort of click and think, actually, maybe my tyre's blown,
It was like when it was introduced and people were going, what's going on? I don't understand what's happened. It was an interesting feature when it was brought in, but yeah, it's an odd feeling because you just don't really, it just happens so quickly and you're like, wait, what's going on here? And it can really throw you out quite quickly. I had a right rear go on me the other night and it was just coming into pit lane and it absolutely took me by complete surprise and I totaled the car from it. Barry Neal putting it into pit lane. Now, Cade Donnelly, Troy Davidson, both really running it to the ends of the limits at the moment. They're both sticking it out as long as possible. And they've had some good pace all night long, so they are definitely going for it at the moment.
Yeah, they've got to be right on that bubble. I think they're probably just trying to squeeze a little bit out of it at the end here. And
you're going to see the difference of pace as well, because Roman Jaeger's coming up with fresh tyres right now, and he's got nothing to worry about with those boots. He can make it to the end and look at just how much time you're losing out there on the old tyres. So I think it's probably worth just pulling it in as soon as possible. But the caution flag is out. This works out to perfection for those guys sticking it out longer, as Matt Patton has had a huge crash in pit lane.
let's have a look and see. I did see Matt Patton come out of the pits and he looked a little bit off, so I'm not sure what's happened there. But looks like he's come off turn 4.
I wonder if it's an equipment failure, because
wow, he's just come flying down pit lane.
Yeah.
He's probably lost monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to say that looks like an equipment failure for Patton, for Matt Patton. That was a big one. But what this does is those guys that stayed out, Cade Donnelly, Troy Davison, Mark Turner, Todd Maxfield. Todd Maxfield's actually in pit lane. So Mark Turner, with a very battered 862 K-Tech Motorsport car, is out there still. But these guys will come in for their pit stops, and they are going to be, they're the only cars on the lead lap at the moment. Everybody else is going to be getting the wave around and getting some bits back, but this is really going to affect some people's races.
Yeah, it's kind of a big impact. It's good for Davidson and Donnelly and Turner, all those cars that stayed out, because they're going to have fresh tyres and they're going to be right at the front.
That is exactly what they were praying for, I'm sure, by sticking it out there and waiting as long as they did, just in case that caution came, and it came at just the right time for them, because I had the feeling that they were going to come down pit lane in the very, very near future. So we'll wait for everything to shake itself out, because I think we should see a lot of wave arounds happening. Michael Latter, I think he's the final car on the lead lap. And I'm not sure who got lucky dog in that one, actually. But there's going to be a lot of wave rounds happening, but there's also going to be a lot of cars that are going to find themselves off the lead lap and in the wrong spot at the wrong time here tonight.
I've been able to duck down and check on what actually happened with Matt, and it was his pedals that failed on him.
Pedals?
Yeah.
Not fun at all. Yeah. You could see it was pretty much a textbook case. I mean, I guess luckily it happened at a point where he could just absolutely send it in and not have to worry about bouncing up on anybody.
It's kind of the conundrum where the pedals sort of stick, and what do? Do you run the outside and that? I mean, we saw that actually in the real life NASCAR at a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Where it was actually the rotors were getting shattered, and so a couple of drivers put it up against the wall to slow down, and so I think in Matt's case he's like, how do I slow this car down? Do I put it in the wall and if it's going full throttle, it'll probably just keep running around the outside on the wall, or do I just aim for the opening of pit lane and stop it completely?
Yep. And well, I mean, it's probably it's a little bit more survivable in a sim racing car when you do that. In the real life counterpart, you generally don't want to slab it into a concrete wall. But
No, it's a bit easier choice in the sim world. Yep, I'll just put it in the sim world. It's going to be all right. But
yeah, there's a lot less chance it's going to kill you.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt so much. But yeah, I don't know. You should have put it on the wall and done a Hal Melon, see if it worked.
Yeah. It could have continued on and possibly got the win from it. Pace car is out for the first time here tonight, though. Bit unlucky actually that it bounced off onto the grass, because it could have possibly just not brought out the caution as well where he went in, but it did just bounce him off, unfortunately, with the impact there. So lots of cars getting the wave around, lots of cars going to be going around here, and well, this is really shaken up tonight's race. 41 laps remaining here. My Private Cellar's Australasian Supercar eSeries. It is race 6 of season 6 here at Legacy, Texas, and well, it's been an interesting race up till now. Everybody is on fresh tyres. Everybody is going to be running to the end. It's going to be a sprint to the end, and a lot of people are going to be out of position from this as well. So got to say, Troy Davis and Cade Donnelly are looking good at the moment. Mark Turner as well. So we'll have to see how this one goes. Once the pace car is in and we go back to green, away goes Troy Davidson, launches himself away with Cade Donnelly up there. Mark Turner trying to get himself up into contention as well. Good race from Mark Turner tonight, although he had that blowout and had a big snap on the front of that car. He's managing to keep it going at some pace. Caution flag is out again, as Justin Whitcher is pointing in the wrong direction. Contact between Whitcher and Jordan, I think.
This is what we see a lot, Carl, is caution breeds cautions. So everyone gets that, just cools those tyres down, and on fresh ones too, with different tanks of fuel, they just forget how slippery they are under cold conditions.
Yeah, and everybody was really charging up to try and get with their wave arounds. They were really, really going at full pelt. Heavy whack there. Justin Whitcher got the worst of that one. It looks like Kobe Jordan might be fairly okay with that one, actually. It doesn't look like he got too much damage, although the whole bonnet is missing, actually, so I take that back. The 080 Inside Lane Productions car did get a fairly heavy whack with that one, but if it's cosmetic, then it might not be as bad as it looks.
Yeah, I think that was a product of the wave around, because those cars at the back was way behind, still trying to catch up to the leaders. I think they sort of just tripped over themselves there.
Got a few cars coming down pit lane, just for some repairs by the looks of it. Gary Wellman is one of those cars, not having his seasonary luck at the moment, but I won't write him off just yet, because well, we saw last time 4 laps down, still managed to come home and win it. So we'll have to see what happens with Gary Wellman tonight. But this is kind of what all those cars that have the wave around would have wanted to see, of course, because this gives them a chance to actually line up in a proper way. This is not what Troy Davidson, Mark Turner and Cade Donnelly wanted to see, though.
No, I think if Gary's still in the race, there's still a chance, right?
Yeah.
We've pretty much learned that lesson now.
If Gary's still got 4 wheels on it and it's in the race, then there is a chance for it to get victory. I will not write it off at all. Even with our curses from the commentary box, he can still get the wins. So it's been an impressive season so far for him. But it's going to be a little bit trickier tonight for sure. So we've got a little bit of time to breathe, I guess, and have a bit of a relax take a drink and reset ourselves for this 35 lap dash to the end. As I said, this is great news for a lot of those cars that found themselves out of position after that first caution. But there's still quite a lot of cars that are going to be a lap down. So we've got 12 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Rowan Yeager, the final of those cars. Todd Maxfield, the first car, a lap down. And yeah, a lot of those cars sort of really at the wrong place at the wrong time when that caution flag came out. So it's have to see how this one unfolds in the next part of this race.
We've still got a number of cars let down as well. Everyone from 13th onwards.
Yeah, they were just in that wrong spot, I think, and they did not get the wave around, so it was really costly for a lot of fast cars out there. And yeah, it's really hurt a lot of races. That caution was just really the wrong place at the wrong time for over half the field. Starting to form up 2 by 2 again, and it's going to be Troy Davidson for the Simboys United Electrical Solutions Hot Toddy's car going to be leading away for this restart. He's got Mark Turner up on his high side for K-Tech Motorsport. That car has seen some better days at the front. It's got a fair bit of damage on the right hand side. It's a little bit crinkled, needs a little bit of ironing on it, but seems to have some good pace in there still. So we'll see how that one comes out. Kate Donnelly sitting just behind with Nicholas Walsh, Craig Rothie, Adam Lowe, Barry Neal, Dwayne Priest, Darren McKenzie, and Gary Wellman. That's our top 10 at the moment. Of course, there's no visible restart zone here at the Classic Texas, of course. The Legacy Texas, it was before restart zones were a thing. So don't have the nice little bit of Geico down the inside to let you know where it is. But they're coming up to the line now, about to start the race anew. 35 laps remaining here tonight. We're going to go back to green flag racing now as Troy Davison puts his foot down, and away we go once more.
Bit of a squeeze around Mark Turner there. He didn't get a great restart.
He clips the wall as well. That's not going to help things out. That car's been a bit battered tonight. He's falling down the field quite quickly as Barry Neal is now coming up to play. Flying down the inside, Barry Neal just absolutely sent it from absolutely nowhere. And only took about 5 cars in one corner. Flying at the moment in the 22. Barry Neal is back on pace. He doesn't have to worry about tyres now. He can just take the raw pace of that car and fly it to the end. And he is going full bore at the moment as he leads. He's just ahead of Troy Davison. We know Troy's got some good pace here tonight. He did qualify up on pole ahead of this man, Barry Neal. So Troy Davison's going to be wanting to run up there as well, try and get the W next to his name. It's been a little bit of time since he's had it in. Absolutely love it. Kate Donnelly there in third position, that with Nicholas Walsh as well. Some boys have got a lot of cards up their sleeve, and don't discount Gary Wellman too. He's trying to work his way up with Craig Rothie. Craig Rothie having a good run on the high side at the moment. So there's a little bit of doorbaying happening now. People are getting a little bit more aggressive, but it's actually sprint to the end now, and they are going full throttle. There's no need to save, no need to worry about keeping the car as safe as possible. As Darren McKenzie gets a little bit loose, gets up into Craig Rothie, and they just make contact. Craig Rothie just dropped back a little bit. No major damage by the looks of things. They're still keeping in the right spot, but the racing is getting very thick and fast. From about 4th down as cars are starting to get up to pace now, and the tyres, I'd say, just getting a little bit warmer too. Quite a few of those cars just drifting around turn 4, back end stepping out a little bit, the rear's lighting up.
And the other problem you're going to have as well is they've been driving pretty conservative for 100 laps, and now they're all in a position where they can actually push the car, so they have to sort of learn what the car's capable of again.
Yeah, it's always a hard thing when you've been driving a car that's been on very old tyres to then switch it back on to full pace. And well, best drivers, they can do it very easily, and it makes them sick. But with us mere mortals, it can take a couple of laps just to get an idea of where those limits are. You just have to get the limits back there. Really aggressive stuff down a little bit further back.
Andy Barber's just been touched and he's down on the apron. So I don't know if he's kept it going, but it looks like it has no caution.
Yeah, it's kept it running in the right direction. Everybody just skimmed through there. Let's see what happened. I was about to say it's getting really aggressive back there with Maxfield and couldn't see the other car, but look at that save. Super save there from Andy Barber. That would have been a nasty, nasty hit if he'd gone into the wall. Good job from everybody else behind as well. Just parting the seas and getting way past. Up at the front, though, it's back in the lead for Kay Donnelly now. He has pushed his way past Barry Neal, and the Sim boys are starting to work their way towards the front at the moment. Adam Lane also having a good run in the number 3 car. The Southern Stars entry having a good run at the moment, and he's starting to charge his way forwards. Could he be in with a shout tonight? Look at the guys, they are really pushing hard at the moment. Christopher Tomlin up there as well, and he's racing pretty hard. He's a couple of laps down, but he's trying to get himself onto those lead laps after getting caught out. And trying to push himself forward to try at least keep himself in contention with caution flag falls.
Business has definitely picked up from the front now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a fairly calm race for most of this one. Everybody was just trying to nurse those tyres and get to the end of the race, and now all of a sudden it's gone, well, we can get there, so let us go full throttle and battle this one out. Adam Malone having a really strong run at the moment. He's up into P2 now and putting pressure all over the back of Kay Donnelly, trying to get himself in front of the blue flavour of Simboy's entry. So I wonder if a couple of drivers are just sitting back there a little bit, just not pushing too hard, trying to keep the temperature just a little bit lower in their tyres, and then going to start fighting with 10 laps to go, letting these front guys really fight it out at the moment. And then we're going to see the rest of the pack come alive, or they're just taking a bit too much of a whack to get the speed in the car. Just looking at Raymond Yeager, he had to take a drive through, so he's still on the lead lap, but he is almost going to fall down a lap here. He's got some damage. A little bit further up the front of the field, there is a fair amount of action as we see Justin Whitcher going slow.
It's very slow.
I wonder if he took a very heavy hit in that car, and I wonder if that's the only pace that's left in the number 12 Whitcher Electrix Pinnacle Esport entry. So he's going to be keeping himself out of the way of people once they start closing up. Meanwhile, up the front of the field, the battle is really going at the moment as Troy Davidson's defending from Adam Malone. Jai Schultz up there now as well. He's trying to get his lap back. He's trying to get himself back on the lead lap just in case the caution flag falls. A little bit of a break in the pack down to Barry Neal now as the front runners are starting to get a little bit of a lead over the rest. Is very close between Tomlin and Neal there.
Yeah, Christopher Tomlin gave Barry a little touch up out of turns 2 and 3 that last lap, and seen Barry really sideways. Luckily though, Christopher actually straightened him up again, so those two aren't losing any love between them.
Which is bizarre, given there's 3 laps difference between them, but yeah. Anyway.
Oh, contact between Jai Schultz and Adam Malone! We're going to have the caution flag out here. They take it 3 wide. Adam Malone goes up into Nicholas Walsh. Chris Findlay. And bang, huge wreck up the front of the field. And unfortunately for Adam Malone and Chris Findlay, I think their races are run. racing hard to try and get a lap back there for Jai Schultz, but 3 wide, probably not the wisest of moves at that stage.
Yeah, probably another one I just don't get.
Yeah.
It looks like he's got down on that inside line, and it's moved him up, but very aggressive.
I just
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. I
As
don't
I
get
say, trying to get
trying to get a lap
the lap
back.
back.
But you still need a caution to be in contention, and you're the lucky dog. So what's the point? But anyway.
Yeah, that's a heavy damage there, unfortunately, for Adam Malone and Chris Finlay. Their races are run. Shame for Adam Malone because he was having a very solid run in the number 3 and pushing himself up there. So that's brought the caution flag out for the 3rd time, I think. I'm trying to think now. Third time, I think.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Yeah.
I've got a button here. There we are.
Yeah.
3 cautions. Yeah. 10
There we
laps
go.
under caution. Still 20 laps to go. Jeez, it feels like the pace is that last run was about what 15 laps or so, and that was pretty intense. It felt like a long time. There's a lot going on.
With some of those high-risk moves and really aggressive driving as well, it almost felt like there were only 5 or 6 laps to go. They were really turning up the old aggression levels there. But yeah, that has brought the caution flag out. And I think Kim Roffey might be in contention for the lucky dog spot. So just waiting for
because
things to sort themselves out.
The 27 was involved in the caution technically,
Yeah, I think Andy Barber. And I think Andy Barber got that one because I did see him go around the high side on that last roll around lap.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us another car on to the lead lap there. Good news, I'd say, for Raymond Yeager. As we said, he had to serve a drive-through penalty, but he's managed to get himself back onto the lead, back onto the back of this tail of cars. So that's some good news for his race. But only got 11 cars on the lead lap here tonight. So as I say, that caution really changed things up for everybody. It really cost a lot of people their positions in the race because it sort of put them in just the wrong spot at the wrong time. But so far, Kay Donnelly and Troy Davidson have done a great job of keeping themselves up the front.
Yeah, they've definitely been up the front most of the night, and really the guys to catch tonight. So let's hope they can keep that going for the Sim boys.
Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out. Pace car lights are out, I think. No, they're just about to go out though, and we'll start forming up 2 by 2 here. It is, of course, race number 6 of the season, so we were at that halfway point, and it's been a good run so far. You've got to say, Gary Wellman, he's not having the night he's accustomed to. Quite a bit of damage on the rear of that car, on the right rear. I think he's had most of it repaired now though, so it's looking somewhat better than it was before, but he's going to have to do a lot of work to get himself back up there and pass a lot of fast cars as well to try and make it 5 for 6 this season. Craig Roffey having a good run still in the Rogue Sim Sports car. We've seen him having a good run tonight up at the front of the field. Barry Neal's working his way right back to the front of the field. I expect to see that car battling it out there. Darren McKenzie is right back up there as well. We saw DMAC having one of the first cars to suffer a puncture, and that cost him a huge amount of time. But with these cautions, it's managed to put him back in contention with the race. And then we have Nicholas Walsh for the Sim Boys with Troy Davidson and Kate Donnelly up there as well. So again, Sim Boys having a fantastic run this season and really been keeping themselves strong up the front. Pace car pulls in. Kate Donnelly is going to be leading us away. 17 laps remaining here tonight at Texas.
doesn't look like Walsh has got the start he wanted, because Mackenzie's been able to get up into third place, and now he's challenging for the second and the race lead.
Yeah, he took advantage of a really good start there, and he's trying to get up there. I wonder if the high side line is just not quite starting how people want it to. Mackenzie taking advantage of that, getting himself up into P2 at the moment. But look at all the cars behind shuffling their way through, trying to get themselves up into this lead group. And I'm sure we'll see them moving themselves into position, because we've got 15 laps remaining. This is the time where you have to start thinking about that move. It's like playing chess at a couple of 100 kilometers per hour. You're going to try and think about 6 moves in advance to try and get yourself to the front of the field, and hope everybody else can keep it in the right place for you. There's a lot of guesswork, but there's a lot of skill involved too.
Definitely is, but we can see that bottom line now. The front 4 cars on that bottom line are Sim Boys, and then that top line is made up from Southern Stars, Barry's car, Barry Neal's car, and a road car. So now that bottom line is now made up of 5 Sim Boys. So they seem to keep growing cars.
Every time you look away, a new Sim Boy car will appear on the track. They're like amoebas. They just keep on multiplying with each other. But they've got a lot of good cars, and they've been running really well on these really fast sort of super speedway style runs. They tend to be very good at positioning themselves to that. And again, they're showing that tonight. I was just looking back. I think Kim Rothy is working his way up the field as well. So we might have 2 Ferguson sports cars linking themselves together. Raymond Yeager as well, he's pushing his way up towards the front too. So we've got quite a collection of different teams up there. But you've got to say, Sim Boys at the moment, they're sitting very pretty, and also for the teams championship as well. This could be a really strong night for them.
The real battle at the moment for third place between and Neil.
Those 2 fighting out, and then just behind them there's a lot of sideways action going on. Raymond Yeager just weaving it through different positions with Craig Rothy, Nicholas Walsh back there as well. So quite a few different places. Darren Mackenzie also fighting it out back there. There is some serious scrapping going on behind the top 3 at the moment, as Gary Wellman gets himself past Barry Neal, and that top 3 is going to put themselves up quite nicely on the low line. So we're starting to see that pack racing that we've grown so accustomed to in the Australasian Supercar eSeries coming to fruition here, and some good racing on track at the moment. We've got a little bit of door paint swapping here and there, but everybody pointing it in the right direction.
I saw there was a bit of contemplation of going 4 wide at some points there as well. They decided to keep it 3 wide.
I think that's the wise decision. I mean, 3 wide is still risky, but 4 wide, the last lap, 4 wide's fine. Just you've still got 9 laps remaining. Keep it civil. That's the whole thing.
Oh, I think Raymond just pushed up a little bit there.
There's that little bit of a reprieve almost after the pace car start, where the tyres pull down a little bit, but they soon get right back up to that hot temperature. And we're seeing it now, the car's starting to get a little bit wobbly and just not quite sticking to the lines where the drivers want it to. Kay Donnelly doing a great job up the front. There's all contact between Craig Rothy, and Rothy is going to bring the caution out. There's a huge wreck happening in the background as somebody is flying all the way over there.
Mackenzie, I think. Darren again, in the wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, so unfortunate. Mackenzie, he's just been really wrong place, wrong time so many times. So I think Nicholas Walsh and Craig Rothy made contact on the exit of turn 2. And unfortunately, it was Kim Rothy who got himself right up underneath his teammate there and launched him into the sky. So quite a few heavy hits as well. Andrew Hoffman going heavily into Darren Mackenzie. So let's see this replay now, because that was a rather nasty accident, and a lot of cars have got taken out of this race. So there's that little bit of contact between Walsh and Roffey, and then watch the purple car. His teammate gets underneath him, launches him in the end. And then Darren McKenzie slowing down, trying to get stopped up for it. And unfortunately, Andrew Hoffman just come in too hot, collects him. And Darren McKenzie is, well, he's going off on his space adventures.
Darren believes he can fly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really, really heavy crash, that one.
And another big hit for Craig as well. Like, I'm sure last week we saw one of the road cars crash into the back of Craig and send him flying as well. It's 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's not been a good couple of weeks for Rogue, and just really not much you can do in a situation like that. That was really just a lot of unfortunate events there. As we said, it sort of started off with the Simboys car and the road car just getting into each other, and Watch on board here just got nowhere to go, getting on the brakes heavily. And these things have got great stopping power, but unfortunately, there's not much you can do if you don't see the event happening. And bang, that's what it's like on board there. Not fun if you're in VR. You'll be losing a few kilograms. That was a big one.
Yeah, I've done a few of those in VR. It's not fun.
But much like a cat, Darren McKenzie lands on all four wheels. So you know he's at least got that part mastered.
Yeah, jeez, you know the poor Rogue Sim boys out there, they're having to do full rebuilds of their cars every week. Poor Craig,
Exactly.
it's the second week in a row that Craig's been hit in the back like that, and it sent him flying through the air.
I know it's going to be a long old week on Car Mechanic Simulator getting that thing rebuilt.
Yeah, indeed.
One of the beautiful things about sim racing, of course, is you don't have to repair the car after it goes boomity boom like that. Although it would be a fun feature to add, and I'm sure people would be much less aggressive if they had to rebuild their cars. Or they'd be much more willing to pay people to do it for them. So it's going to be a dash to the end, and well, the aggression levels have gone up a bit, and I think we're going to see them turned all the way to 11 for this final part of the race. I think we're going to see the aggression levels all the way up to the top numbers, and well, we've only got 10 cars on the lead lap now, so it's been an odd race, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. Once they had tyres and fuel, it really got super aggressive. Like the first 2/3 of the race was a lot of respect, a lot of conserving, sort of running their own races, looking to get to that sort of mark where they could, you know, get tyres and fuel and make it to the end. But then once you hit that mark, they just all went for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt, it was cucumber sandwich racing that first half, and now it's there's no holds bar. It's been the second half of the race has really been a race of nutrition.
Carolina hot sauce sandwiches for this final part, hasn't it?
Well,
yeah.
The story of the first half is, you know, they're conserving the tyres and the number of tyre blowouts we had, and then the second half is aggression as we're about to go back green.
Dominic leads away again up the front of the field. Tonight, he's got Troy Davison behind him. That high line again, just not getting away well by the looks of things. You can see Barry Neal getting a great start down the inside like a rocket ship and getting right to the back of Kay Donnelly here. Barry Neal trying to stop the Sim Boys from locking out all three of the podium spots here tonight. They've got some good chances. Dwayne Priest up there as well. Raymond Yeager battling away for P6 at the moment. 3 laps remaining here. We are getting to the closing stages of tonight's race for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellars. And it is Kate Donnelly in the lead, 2 wide through the corner. They go. That inside line looks very tight at the moment, very tidy, I should say, at the moment. Working well for Raymond Yeager now flying up towards the front. He's right behind Barry Neal, giving a little bit of a push. Gary Wellman just trying to work out where he wants to be for these final couple of laps. 2 remaining. We are getting very close to the end.
Have we seen the last of the caution with the aggression that we've seen so far? We may even see an overtime race tonight, Carl.
Might do. The white flag is about to fall though, and once that flag appears, we will be racing to the checker. There's only a few meters to go, and Kate Donnelly's going to see the white flag flying right now. The final lap is underway, as here we go. Barry Neal's trying for a run on the high side. That's all catches Kate Donnelly. Big wreck there between those cars. That's taking Donnelly and Barry Neal out of the race. It's taking Troy Davison up to the front. Raymond Yeager trying to get the run now, as Gary Wellman is sitting back in 3rd position. Troy Davison down the inside, getting the car through the corner. Raymond Yeager's going to try for the run here to the line. We're coming up to the final stages of the race. It's going to be Troy Davison getting the win here tonight at Texas, with Raymond Yeager in 2nd. Gary Wellman makes it a clean sweep for podiums this season so far in 3rd.
Just had a sibling have a quick little look at that incident between Neal and Donnelly, and then we'll come back for the burnout.
Watch here between those 2 cars. That was a lot of people got lucky to get through that one.
Luckily they hooked up and stayed up high, really, and let people through.
Yeah.
We'll go back live. And
big moment there. And just trying to digest that one myself. It just looks like Barry Neal just caught the back of Kate Donnelly, just unsettled him, and just that's all it takes, and up and over he goes, and it takes both of them out of contention for the race. But Troy Davidson back in the winner's circle. Well, for the first time in a long time. We're talking Troy last week on his podium. It's been a while since we've seen him up on the podium positions. And I think I said to him, hopefully next time we see you in the booth, it will be with a W next to his name. Well, he's only bloody done it. Troy Davison takes victory here tonight at Texas. Fantastic job for him and the Sim Boys. And, well, it turns out the team cars are in the right position at least tonight. They've got 2 of them up there for the team championship.
and he's pretty happy about it. He's about to blow that engine, but yeah.
And it was a tie for 3rd place last time out of the race between Raymond Yeager and Troy Davidson, and it was almost the same tonight as 18 thousandths of a second between those 2 cars. Absolutely nothing separating between those. So very, very fun stuff. So let's run through the results. It's Troy Davison taking victory here tonight at Texas, with Raymond Yeager in 2nd. Gary Wellman comes home for 3rd. It's been a podium every race so far this season. Andy Barber comes home in 4th spot, with Dwayne Priest in 5th. 6th position is Michael Latter, with Jai Schultz in 7th. 8th for Kate Donnelly. Barry Neal in 9th. And 10th position is Luke Crum. As we roll over the page, it's Todd Maxfield bringing it home in 11th, with Shay Mello in 12th. 13th for Kobe Jordan. Shane Newens in 14th position. 15th for Nicholas Walsh. Peter Madsen in 16th. Justin Whitcher 17th. Christopher Tomlin 18th. 19th for Nigel Patton. Craig Roffey in 20th. Darren McKenzie comes home in 21st, with Kim Roffey 22nd. Andrew Hoffman 23rd. 24th for Finlay. Malone 25th. Mark Turner 26th, Matt Patton 27th, Kai Turner 28th, and 29th was Aaron Dillon.
That last hit with Barry Neal's was so bad that it even confused the timing. It's got 2 10th places instead of a 9th. That's how confused it is.
Yeah, it absolutely messed up those little bits, but luckily we got there at the end. So let us let's bring up some of our podium getters, and we're going to start off tonight with our 3rd place man for Sim Boys. It's going to be Gary Wellman. Gary Wellman, welcome back to the booth, mate. It's a regular occurrence, I know, for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. We can't seem to get rid of you at the moment.
No, I'm a bit of a pest, aren't
I know, we've got to change the locks, I reckon. You keep finding yourself up here. It's been 6 podiums for 6 races so far this season. I think 2 third places and the rest have been victories. It's been a fairly good run so far.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely can't complain with that. Yeah, I kind of didn't feel like I had a podium in me tonight, though. But yeah, a bit of a bugger for Cade there. I thought he was pretty strong all night. And yeah, but anyway, I suppose I picked up the pieces from that one and run through for a 3rd.
Yeah, it was a bit of a close shave for you on that final lap as well. I mean, it looked... I sort of glanced up and sort of saw it happening. I was like, oh, did you make it through? And it looked like you just squeezed through by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah, I thought they might have bounced down the track a bit further, but yeah, kind of seen it happening and quick enough and ducked as well as I could and snuck through.
Now, it was a bit of a tricky race. I saw maybe a little bit of damage on your car at some stage.
Yeah, I think it did run the wall. My tyres pretty much popped, so I thought I might have got a bit more out of them. But yeah, I think Cade and Troy, they were real good on their tyres all night, and I couldn't stick with them, and then they just faded off and understeered me a bit into the wall. But it was only 20 seconds or something, so it wasn't anything that hurt the car. But yeah, I don't know, just didn't quite have the pace of those first couple of guys there, I don't think.
No, not quite there tonight, but still somehow creeps it onto the podium again. And just going to mention as well, good night for the team selection for a change.
Yeah, we got it right. The old spreadsheet come through today, so yeah, we we got it right today, which was good. So yeah, good result for the team as well, which yeah, which is always good to pretty sure we got the win actually, so we might be on top of the table again.
No, look, great stuff tonight for the team and yourself. Well done on another podium this season, Gary. Before I let you go, though, the shout out and the love, you'll go just personal sponsors at the moment. We'll make Troy do the hard work with the team stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, oh yeah, it's just Hot Toddys and United Electrical, always there for the boys. And yeah, no, well done, Ray, on the P2 and Troy for the win. It's good to see him get a win. I think it's been a while, so I think he's pretty happy with that one.
Absolutely. I said to him last time, hopefully next time we see him in the booth, it will be with the W next to his name, and he's only gone and done it.
Yeah, he's definitely he's up there with the best of them, but he just hasn't quite popped a win for a while. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah, congratulations tonight, Gary. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time, mate.
Cheers, Carl. See you, mate.
Gary Wellman there for Sim Boys. Next up, it is our 2nd place man for Pinnacle Esports. It's Mr. Raymond Yeager. Raymond, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on P2 tonight here at Texas.
Yeah, no, cheers. Pretty happy with that, considering everything.
Yeah, it was looking a little bit doubtful for a few moments, I think. You had a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened, but when we got the waiver in, there was an issue and we didn't go straight away. And then trying to catch up to the back of the pack, I must have just got ahead of one of the cars before the green flag dropped or something, and yeah, just got a bit of a drive-through, and then luckily got a caution just before I was about to be lapped to get back around on the back of the pack. So yeah, wasn't sure I was going to be here at that point.
Yeah, it was looking a little bit doubtful, but cream rises to the top.
Yeah, as the saying goes, mate, it's better to be lucky than good, right?
Absolutely. Start of the race, we saw you dropping off a little bit and sort of falling down pack. Just looked like you were saving a bit. Obviously, tyres were a big thing tonight. How much saving did you have to do to try and make it to that final set of pit stops?
Yeah, well, me and the boys at Pinnacle, we thought the tyres were going to be a real big problem. So we were hanging back, saving as much as we could, basically. And then obviously Troy and the boys, they just went flat out basically from the start, and they seem to be fine. So maybe they just drive better than us. I don't know.
That's it. They've got this magical thing of just keeping the tyres alive. Maybe just going so fast the tyres don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, if I was just having a chat with Troy in the green room just there, I was like, if I had tried to stay with you, like, because when I changed my tyres at whatever lap 80 something, I was down to like 14% or something on the left rear and the right front. So I was like, if I had tried to stay with you guys, I would have been dead. Like my tyres would have blown like with heaps of laps to go. So I don't know. Yeah, it's good effort from them to get their tyres to last a lot better than I could.
No, absolutely. We saw a fair few people getting struck by the odd tyre blowouts, and yeah, it was not the easiest thing tonight, but you absolutely made it work. Just missing out a tiny bit. Again, almost a dead heat between yourself and Troy.
Yeah, we were chatting about that in the session there. We were like, "Oh, you beat me by heaps this week, Troy," because obviously last week it was like less than whatever the timing sheet goes to, because said we were dead heated, and then this time I think it was 0.018 or something. So you won by heaps this time.
Exactly. Like a couple of car lengths there. That's just
Yeah,
disgraceful stuff. It must be that little bit of damage on the car.
Yeah, maybe I just noticed on the replay there that I'm watching on the broadcast. I can see that rear wing's just a little bit crumpled. I didn't actually remember getting. Oh yeah, I do remember that actually. So yeah, maybe that affected it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll blame that. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to find something to blame for those situations. Look, another good race tonight, though. Look, it's been a strong season so far. We're pretty much at that sort of just over that halfway point as well. So you must be sort of quite happy with how it's going so far. But trying to beat Gary is a hard thing at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's not been a bad season. So obviously I missed a week earlier in the season, but I think we're back up to second in the championship, but about miles and miles behind Gaz, because he just wins every week. So yeah, no, he's a bit of a freak at the moment. Just everything he's doing is going well. Even in other leagues, he's running pretty well in other leagues as well. So he's in a bit of a hot streak. And I mean, tonight he'd be pretty disappointed. Only finished third. So.
I know. When he doesn't win it, he finishes in third position this season. It's been
It makes it very difficult to compete with him for the championship when he's just finishing on the podium every week. So yeah.
Oh, well, look, good luck for the rest of the season, Raymond. Congratulations tonight on P2 here at Texas. But before I let you go, the love for shout out to sponsors and people in general. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, cheers. So obviously the boys at Pinnacle, Nigel, Justin, Greg and Matt, like I say, every time I'm here, I wouldn't get on a race without those guys. So thankfully they hang around and talk to me during the races, which is handy. But obviously we've got some sponsors. My Private Cellar, Whitcher Electrix and RKJ Web Services. That's both on the car and also the league as well. So we've also got United Electrical Solutions and Hot Toddys heating installs. And of course, you guys at Performance E-Streaming bringing us the action every week for the league. So as I've said to Maddie a few times, you guys get better each week. So it's been fantastic since you guys have come on board to bring the action every week. So I appreciate it. And hopefully we can keep delivering good finishes like that one.
Oh, it makes it easy when we get exciting races like that. So it's not too hard for us. Thank you so much, Raymond. Congratulations tonight. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth soon.
So easy, guys. Have a good one. Catch up.
And finally tonight, we're going to be bringing up our race winner. Last time we spoke to him, it was on the podium. We said, hopefully next time we chat, it will be with a victory next to the name. And it has happened indeed. Troy Davidson, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on the win here at Texas.
Yeah, cheers, Cal. Can you keep saying that every week, mate? I appreciate that, mate.
Absolutely. Next time we speak to you, it'll be with another victory next to your name.
Yeah, great.
Tonight, you absolutely dominated here at Texas. You had speed in this car all race long.
Yeah, it's sort of all going our way. And none of the yellows, not one of them really worked out for us in favour of us. But, yeah, managed to get the win at the end of the night, which I'm appreciative of. But, yeah, it was a good solid race. Sort of when Cade was sticking together most of the race and just holding our lines and trying to conserve tyres, and pretty much right to the very end there. Well, I think it was one of the yellows worked out perfect for us for fuel, and yeah, managed to. I think I only had 1% on the rear left and 8% on the front right. I think it was. So yeah, it wasn't a lot left to go in the tyres.
I'll answer the question because I was about to ask you just how buggered were the tyres when you came in that stage? Because you guys had some incredible pace up the front, yet you kept the tyres from blowing.
Yeah, it was sort of probably the last. They were really good until about 5 or 10 laps before we actually pitted. I think a lap car was maybe fighting for a lucky dog or something, and I couldn't really. I think he was on new tyres, and I couldn't really get past. So that sort of hurt him there the last 5 or 10. But yeah, just sort of. I think when you're in front, you can sort of just hold your race line without sort of having to be caught around other cars, and that really helps a bit, I think.
Oh, absolutely. You did a great job of keeping the tyres alive tonight and keeping up the pace as well. We were sort of a bit worried at the start of the race watching you guys, yourself and Kate, pulling away because you had some really big pace up there. You built up about a 15-second gap over the other half of the field. And we were wondering, just have you put too much in there and damaged the tyres? But you surprised us all by staying out the longest.
Yeah, well, because of the legacy track, I was pretty confident what we were doing right. It felt good, but then I knew Razor was sort of 14, 15 seconds back, and I thought, maybe they know something we don't. And I just about had a chat with him before when you grabbed him up, but yeah, he was equally thinking the same thing, wondering what if he was doing the right thing. So yeah, it's funny how it pans out.
Absolutely. Look, a solid result for yourself as well. A win next to your name. That's always a nice thing. It's been a while since you had a victory.
Yeah, it has been quite a while. Actually, sort of got, obviously podiums come round reasonably regularly, but yeah, the win's always nice.
Absolutely. Always good to see you in victory lane, and also a really good night for the team as well. We were chatting to Gary, but finally the spreadsheets paid off.
Yeah, we sort of, I reckon, was playing around with it for about an hour tonight. None of us could make up our mind. We got 2 or 3 different or 4 different, and we've got one main spreadsheet thing, but we've got some other stats we pull from and stuff, and none of us could decide. And pretty much whatever we decide every week seems to go wrong. So tonight it nearly was a 1, 2, 3 there at one stage. But yeah, we definitely, I think we cleaned her up tonight pretty well. So stoked with that.
Absolutely. Look, a solid result tonight, Troy. Well done indeed. It's great to see you back in victory lane, mate. Before I let you go, though, the big job of giving all the shout outs to the sponsors for the team, of course, being the winner, that's your job now, and also the shout outs to everyone else in general.
Yeah, cheers, Carl. Just Hot Toddy Heating Stalls, United Electrical, our Simboys team. We race hard each other, but we also work together as well and help each other a lot. That's great fun every week. You guys with the broadcast, it's been a great watch as always. And ASC, the league, and just all affiliated sponsors with the league. Everyone does a great job, and it continues to be a great league.
Look, absolutely. Congratulations tonight, Troy. Pleasure to have you up here. Hopefully, we will see you again in the very near future again with the W next to your name.
Thanks very much, mate. I'll hopefully it brings the same luck as you did to me last week. So here we go.
We'll see how that one pans out. Thank you so much, Troy.
Cheers, Carl.
And that is the race done and dusted. Of course, head over to the Facebook page of the Australasian Supercar eSeries to catch the adjudications and my brain has gone dead for the word I was looking for there. The
Review.
Review. That's the one. Thank you, Matt.
Does that work?
That works perfectly. But for tonight, we're pretty much done and dusted. Great race here again. Nice to be back at Legacy, Texas, and it brought us some pretty epic racing tonight, Matt.
It did indeed, yeah. It's tale of 2 stories really in the race. The first half was really interesting of the tyre management, and then the second half was the aggression was really interesting as well.
No, absolutely, some great stuff. And we might be done for tonight, but we have more racing coming up in the week, of course. The Anscar Cup Series will be brought to you on Thursday night with Performance e-streaming, of course. That's going to be from the Chicago. Yeah, the street circuit. So that's going to be a really interesting one. A place that I've not had a chance to race at, but I know what it looks like. It's going to be a bit of a different style of racing there, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. Surrounded by cement walls, and there's those funny right-hand turn things in that track.
Yeah, those right-hand turns really throw it out. And then, of course, we will be back with you next Saturday. And I've forgotten where we're at.
I believe it's New Hampshire next week. New Hampshire next week.
Wonderful. So we hope you can join us here for all of that action. From myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with, of course, Mr. Mark Johansson and Matt Hunter, we wish you a very good night, and we will see you all again in the near future. Bye-bye.